Hello, welcome back to LIVENODING. In this episode, I want to share the breakdown of this horror scenes that I created last night. So it's basically just I'm using Blender 3.1, and the scenes is only involving like this chair assets by Notoir.XYZ. This is actually sourced from Sketchfab, and then the rest of them, if I turn on this, you can see the rest of them is just like a duplicates instance. Okay, so yeah, it's actually really that simple. I will explain to you what's going on. So from the chair assets, so I source it from here. You can try downloading this asset. It's a beautiful asset. You can actually zoom in really close, and it's looking really detailed until you can see, okay, there's a bit of something there, imperfections, but from far away it looks perfect. All right, so that's the chair instance. While for the circular array, I'm sourcing Johnny Matthews Gizmo, which is this guy over here. Circular array, you can just go to GitHub and then just download the code as zip. Inside the zip, you will find the nodes and the blend files. This is really cool blend that you can reuse in your own projects. And today I just want to talk about the circular array. So let's take a look. So first of all, we don't need to have all of this. I mean, they are slightly modified version from Johnny, so I can still make changes. I can increase the chair. The chair is actually slightly rotated. If I actually go inside the nodes, this is the nodes from Johnny, but I modified slightly, like I offset it so the pivot of the chair can be rotated and animated like this. You might want to stagger the animation as well, so that's possible, you know, like if it's like a scenes of horror movie and you want to kind of play around with these rotations. You can also kind of like, I think you can rotate it. Yeah, so there's a bit of control that I added just to slightly make the chair less perfect. So if you are new with geometry nodes, so one thing that's it does really well is to do like a instancing. Okay, and you're instancing it based on vector positions. All right, so if you dig inside the nodes, this is from Johnny. If you hit tab and go inside, there's a bunch of nodes that you might want to study and yourself. But if you don't want to study the nodes, feel free just to use the nodes like this, and the rest of them is something you add yourself, like a translate instance, you know, like you want to stagger the chair or you want to rotate it and randomize the rotations. Feel free to do that yourself. But yeah, if I get rid of all the nodes, I mean all the copy, we end up with just one, and we can control the number of chair and also the radius of the circle for the chair. So I think this is one usage of the nodes. Let me show you the original. Okay, circular array. Okay, this is how the nodes looks like if you open up the blend from Johnny. So we have a cone goes into this geometry to instance. You can change the cone itself, and then you have control over the vertices and the radius, right? And let's say you want to use this for the chair. I'm just gonna do the copy. There are many ways to bring this. You can just copy and paste it into your scenes, and this normally will bring the geometry nodes.
Which one?
These nodes. Okay, so from here, if you want to bring like the chair, let's do like import USD Let's go to downloads. This is the wooden chair. Turn on material. Okay, this chair is actually somewhere above. Let me try to find it. This is the chair. View, frame selected, so it's actually above here. I'm gonna do right click and clear the parents and keep transformations. Right click again, set origin to geometry, and then do option G. Now we find the chair at the center. View, frame selected once again. I will just scale this 0.01, so now it's scaled properly. Let's create Suzanne and see. Okay, Suzanne is facing that way. We might want to rotate this guy. RZ 180. Okay, always use Suzanne as reference. Command A, apply all transform. So this chair, how big is this? Okay, it's around 1 meter. This should be pretty right. So let's save this very quickly. So chair, circular array. So when you are working with nodes, procedural nodes, you will find that a lot of Blender artists sometimes share or sell their procedural node setup, and you can buy them. Sometimes you can reuse them and give them credits. Okay, so let's see how it goes with this. So we have this guy. We can simply reuse this setup, like get rid of the cone and just drag and drop the chair. Now we have the chair coming in. Plug this into geometry to instance. Okay, suddenly we have this, right? So by default, Johnny's example actually scaling the assets. I mean, scaling the geometry instance. I just reset the instance. So we have the chair. Seems to be arranged in the circular array. Seems to be slightly off, right? So there's actually a couple of options here. We can change the radius. We can change the number of vertices for the instance of the chair. There's also this axis thing. Which axis we want to use? I think it's actually this axis number 1. If you pick axis number 3, I believe you can then use like something like a random vector. Plug this in like that, so you can actually do this type of thing, which is pretty cool. For now, we don't use that custom vector. We just want to use axis number 1. Okay, we have 12 chair. Seems to be we need to rotate it. Transform. I'm just gonna rotate this manually. So we have the master chair that we can hide now, and now we have this chair. Okay, with this master one, we can adjust it so it's on the floor first of all. So this is the object coming in, right? So we need to transform this, translate it up until it stays on the floor. Okay, so that's the first thing. Let's take a look with the texture. It's looking really nice. It's beautiful 3D scan assets from Notoir. So what else can we do here? Like I said, these nodes, if we hit tab, we can go inside and take a look how this group node is being created. It's using some math and normal. It's you can study this and recreate yourself. That also is a good exercise. But for now, we know that all of these chairs are instances. I know it because if we open asset browsers, actually spreadsheet, we can see they are actually instances. Okay, each instances have position, rotations, and scale. cool. All right, and we can make changes to the scale, like all of them at the same time if we want to. We know that we can also use random value and plug this into the instance. Okay, we can scale it this way, randomize the scale universally, or we can use like a vector value and plug this into the instance scale. This is pretty cool. So you're changing the XYZ scale of the instance using this group node from Johnny. Okay, so we have radius, we have vertices. What else can we do here? Okay, we can create duplicates and we can change the radius, right? If you want to do that, you can then pipe this out yourself as a group input. So I just drag this and pipe the parameter out. So each of the copy can be adjusted as you like. So I create duplicates, change the radius, change the vertices. So this is how I created the scenes. Basically, it's super simple, but it's a fun things to do if you are doing like a 3D scanning. And yeah, this is something you can play around with. So you find the right assets and the right geometry node setup, or define the right tools, and you can create something like this. So what could be better here? You can randomize the rotations perhaps, or because they are still instances, you can always do like rotate instances. You can also do like a translate instances. So you can translate instances, for example, and randomize the X and the Y so they are not completely perfectly aligned. Let's try this. Combine XYZ. This is 3 different value. You can then add random value for the X, for example. So I'm plugging this random value, and you can randomize the seed. So it's kind of offset in the X, and because the each instances still have like a local transformations value, pivot or local transformation matrix, you can just offset it, just randomize it slightly. So of course, if you arrange chairs like this in real life, they cannot be perfectly aligned unless you're like totally crazy and make it perfect. But yeah, slightly offset is okay. And you can also rotate instances, which is nice. You can see that the pivot is actually centered on the chair, I believe. Yeah, we might need to offset it. If you want to flip the chair like this, you want the pivot to be at the back of the chair. For now, we don't worry. We just want to rotate the chair slightly. So we use the combine XYZ once again. This is the rotations, and we want to have random value for the Z. And this is in the, I think it's in the radian. So be careful with this value. Just slightly offset it. We might need to use radian. Two radians, okay, degrees to radian. So this is the how many degrees you want to offset it. Not too much, just a little bit, because we want it to be facing the center. Maybe at the center we have like the monkey head or something. Looks very funny. look, if you select all this chair and then you hold options in the radius, you can see we are changing the radius all at the same time. You can also do that with the vertices, which is pretty neat. RZ, rotate the Z axis, RZ. So this is how we randomize the chair. So this is the center of this, some kind of cult group. Let's create a point, create a floor, and maybe we want to have like a shadow. It's a point light. We also have actually just have the point light, just increase the strength, and then this environment light, we can just turn it off or just change the color if you want to, just to create an ambience. Maybe just turn it off. With the point light, you can use different color to make it more dramatic. Currently it's rendering using cycles. You want to turn on denoising, so it's getting rid of the denoise. And so yeah, that's pretty much how I set up the scenes. If you want to flip the chair, like to animate the flip, let's save this. Let's reopen my setup. So you can see with my setup, the chair can be flipped. That's because I offset it here. Okay, I slightly move the pivot this way. I'm using 2 nodes. I move the pivot to the back. There should be another node to actually translate the pivot, to change it, to quickly just move the pivot. I think that should be handy. So I'm moving the pivot to the back of the chair, and then so I can rotate it and animate the chair this way. Seems to be really dramatic. So again, it's the same setup. Object comes in, and then we just change the pivot, create this to the rotations. This is to offset the original instance. The number of vertices and the radius goes out to the parameter, so we can change it over here. This is the gizmo from Johnny, and the rest of them, yeah, we can rotate, rotate, transform, and translate individually. So we have this type of scenes, and you can now just maybe animate the point light like this to create like a strange looking scenes. It could be like for a movie, I don't know, like a Netflix movie or something. All right, so that's basically what I want to show you. It's again, thanks for the assets from Notoir and also Gizmo from Johnny. I think Johnny will explain each of the nodes. I think this is really good ways to share the nodes, and with some documentations, what's the nodes does, and also provide like a video. This is really good. Good way if you want to share your nodes to other people, so they can reuse it. And this is just like I dream of with Blender since day one. All right, so yeah, hopefully you find this useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.